Good morning. Hi, I'm here with Todd Baker again. We are going to just follow up from where we were last week. As we predicted, it's been a wild ride over the last 7 days. And we're going to get Todd's perspective on what's happened over the last week. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about the stimulus package and how it relates to real estate, what we're seeing right now in the short amount of time we've had it with us. That being said, Todd, how's this last week been for you personally? I mean, give us some insights to your world lately.
Well, that's a great question. I think the thing that for me personally, and I think I'll go ahead and speak for everybody, I think it's the uncertainty of when this ends is probably our biggest challenge as Americans, right? I am super confident because I see amazing innovation happening across the United States and here locally in North Texas with how to be able to conduct business in a safe manner so that we don't spread the virus. I know this at Texas. I saw this morning that Texas only has like 1,100 cases, where New York City has 33,000. So we're very blessed to be here. And I do think if we do the social distancing and do our part and our businesses do their part, we are largely going to stay open for business. So I'm very optimistic about that. But like everybody else, anxious about a little bit, not super anxious, but a little bit anxious about like the uncertainty of like, when does it all end? And we just don't know. So you have to accept that. You have to, I love the saying, let go, let God, put it in God's hands, have faith, and just do what you can do each day to have a great day. So that's sort of where I'm at personally. I can tell you the market since we last spoke has rallied and it's sort of stabilized. Of course, we're going to talk about the stimulus package. And the stimulus package has helped the stock market rally back, stabilize. The mortgage rates have stabilized. They're low. So that's a good thing to have a little bit of normalcy in those two markets. If we can just keep those where, the market's not going up and down 2,000 points a day.
Right. No kidding.
Going up and down 200 points a day, that's easy, right? I mean, go back to normal thing. That would be and that's been a big help the last 3 days. So that's sort of settled down.
That's so great. Well, and little things. I mean, I love seeing everybody outside, obviously practicing social distancing, but meeting people, from a distance on walks and seeing families walk together. I mean, there's some things that will change that I think hopefully will remain even after this is said and done. I will tell you, this whole new technology world we're living in, something you and I have done for quite a while. But I did take a new styling tip from Madam Secretary, the show.
Yeah.
And how she runs downstairs and throws on a jacket over her pajamas, and she just looks like she's just got it all together. And I thought, there's validity
Right.
there. So
Right.
I think it would be interesting to see how many people do the same thing. I have my casual clothes on, but I did throw on a jacket just so that
that's what you do, right? You could be wearing shorts, but you could have your jacket as you're looking for the camera, right?
So that's a perk. Well, let's jump right into this. Let's talk about kind of what you saw. If you want to show your chart. Sure. on the financial component of it, and then let's talk about what the stimulus looks like, the mortgage deferrals that are in there, kind of get your opinion. I know you have some experience in that area, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, so I'll briefly show the charts. Let me share my screen here real quick and show you guys the chart. So I should be able to see that now. So just real briefly, for there might be people that didn't see our last video. So basically, this is a mortgage-backed security market, and that's this chart. These candlesticks show like a normal pattern would just sort of be, it trends up and down. And here's where you see the COVID, breaking out into this pandemic in the U.S. and see what happened. That's like not a normal-looking chart in that zone right there. And where the candlesticks are going down, that means rates are worsening. Where they're going up, they're improving. So you see these wild swings. This couple point right here, the market actually seized up for a few days, but now it's really rallied back and rates are low. So that's really a good thing. So a couple things I'd like to say about the stimulus. Number one, I would encourage every American to read through the bullet points yourself and understand them for yourself. I would highly encourage you also to it's okay to have a friend or a family member give you information. But what I see, just like in a normal world, is that bad information is constantly shared. It's passed along, it's shared, it's the wrong. Like for example, everyone gets $1,000. Well, no, that's not how it actually works. It's based, so the money that's going to be coming in is going to be based on your adjusted gross income. So if you're zero to up to $150,000, and there's a certain amount based on the family side, how many kids, et cetera. And then it depends on if you marry, filing jointly, or if you file individually or head of household. But all those rules are out there for you. And then it phases out from 150,000 to 198. So if you're a higher income earner, you might not get anything from that. So, and all of that's okay. I'm just saying, know what it is before you start making plans. But the bigger thing that we wanted to address in this conversation is the whole concept of mortgage deferrals and what kind of relief for mortgages you're going to get. So what happened is the regulator for Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, and then HUD and the government regulatory bodies for what they call government loans, which would be FHA and VA and USDA. They basically came out and said, we're going to have a moratorium on foreclosures. And what that means is that if you have fallen behind because of this situation, they're not allowed to start foreclosure activity, which is good. So that's really good. You might be in an extreme situation right now. So at least you have that not have to worry about housing for temporarily.
Right.
I think that is more of an extreme case because foreclosure activity right now, I mean, this just happened. Our economy was as strong as it had ever been, and people had some savings. So I don't think that's really a thing, but they did put that in place. What is a thing is the disruption of income from a huge saving of our economy. So this morning, the unemployment claims were 3.25 or 125 or something like that. Like the record level of unemployment claims, but they've also, the stimulus pack enhanced unemployment benefits and so, I mean, the bottom line is that there are going to be some funds coming to these folks. So the issue is, what about mortgage deferral? Like, what if I can't make my mortgage payments? Here's what I would say. This is where do not listen to your friends. Do not. You want to call your loan servicer. So your loan servicer is your current mortgage company. As a consumer, it's, hey, I did my loan with this company, and now this company has it and it collects payments. That's my new company. That's your servicer. You call the customer service and find out what the options are. They are going to allow you to skip payments right now under what's called a forbearance agreement. And what forbearance means is that you just take that money that you would have paid this month and maybe next month or whatever, however many days it's going to be, and you're putting that on the backside of the loan. So you get some relief, and then you just pay it back over time, and there's different options they'll give you. Here's my caveat. And Georgie and I have both been through the housing crisis. We had a housing crisis about 12 years ago, and all of these things were tried. And what I can tell you is all of the same methods were tried to fix it, and it did work and it did help. But the mortgage relief where you defer payment, the credit reporting function is what I would be super cautious about. That is automated. And last time during the housing crisis, even though you're allowed to not make your payment, and they did work it out with you, it still pounded your credit with 30, 60-day late kind of a thing, and your score dropped. And so you don't want to sit there and listen to a family member or a friend who means well, but really doesn't know anything but repeating what somebody else told them, and it's bad information. Call your servicer, get to know for yourself, and specifically know, are you going to suspend reporting this to credit? Can you guarantee, can you put in writing that this is not going to affect my credit? Now, if you don't have the ability to pay your mortgage, you might not have an option there. But remember that mortgages, the way it works is they're due on the first of the month. So for April mortgages, they're due on the first. You're going to have a 10 to 15-day grace period. And if you don't pay with that, then they hit you with a late charge, but it's still not 30 days late. It doesn't go a 30-day late, which is a credit event, until after April 30th. So you really have, and they'll probably waive late fees for you right now, right? So you really have about 30 days to work with that mortgage payment. And it'd be better to work with that time frame than let it go late if you can. That's what I would say. And same thing for the auto deferrals. I know a lot of people you can put all your lease payments on deferral in most spots right now. That's great. But if you have the savings, and this is going to be an 8-week event of cash flow disruption, and you can like hunker down and just pay minimum bills, you need to look at that as well. So that's my recommendation, Georgie.
Well, and I completely agree. I mean, we are, we're 2 weeks into this. If you can pay, it would be my recommendation that you do, simply for the reasons you're talking about. This is not going to be a forever deal, and you're going to want, people need shelter. They're going to be buying houses. I mean, that is another thing we talked about. We're seeing some movement in the market from people who are renting who still want to buy because they're currently spending, that money on rent anyway. So those folks that are in that position, we're working towards that. We're still working towards it. Well,
Well, and I
thank
can
you.
report back to you, like, yeah, what I'm seeing, like anecdotally, is like for you and all my other realtor partners that we're working, like our pre-approvals are working towards buying a house. You know,
And that's what I wanted to ask you about that, because I personally think if that's in the planning process, if we look, if I were someone that was looking to buy a house in the near future, I would continue working, getting all these pieces in place. While we have this extra time, I would reach out to mortgage lenders and talk to them about getting pre-approval, or what is it going to take for me to move into a place to purchase a home. I mean, we've just not seen any slowdown, because the majority of the people that we're talking with, they know it's going to change. So life should not just stop. Take this
no,
as an
that's
opportunity.
exactly right. I mean, no, exactly right. I mean, I think there's a certain element of our, if you're in the restaurant or travel business, I mean, there's certain businesses, or like, I'll tell you, I found one yesterday that it just wouldn't have occurred to me, like dental offices are closed. I mean, I know some dentists that are clients of mine that are high income people, perfect credit, like everything you'd imagine as a consumer of a dentist doing well, they do. But what happens when they just go and turn off the income? Well, you've got a major problem. It doesn't matter how much reserves you have, because they have their commercial lease payments, all their business overhead, their payroll, and then their personal, their personal expenses for housing, shelter, etc. And suddenly it's like it's enormous, and you have zero income. It's an emergency. So but the rest of everyone, I mean, I have other clients that, hey, I'm working at Texas Instruments and I need to refinance my house, or
Mhm.
most of them are still buying refinances. Of our lock volume yesterday, 50% of it, I think we locked 56 loans, and 50% of that was purchase money.
Refi.
Yeah, 50 refi. Yeah, but that means that the people are buying. What I'm
Right.
saying is people are buying houses right now. To me, I think it's
Yeah.
a good time to buy if you're in a non-affected occupation, and you know who you are, right? If you're listening to this, like, oh no, I'm not going to be affected, because most of us aren't going to be in terms of cash flow. Then I would say, and you want to buy a house, great time to buy, because you're going to have way less competition out there, and you're going to put your realtor in a position to have more flexibility to negotiate possibly a discount on price or a closing cost concession, etc. And in some cases, just a great house where the seller really needs to sell, but you don't have 10 people you're fighting off. Now maybe you have one or none, so I think it's a great opportunity right now, if you're in a stable sector of the economy, to buy. I would take advantage of it.
For sure. Well, hey, Todd, I really appreciate you jumping on, and I'd love to do this again next Thursday morning. Just take a snapshot. Let's see how the stimulus package, as it was enacted, see how it's maybe changed the market specifically to our industry. I also would like to next week maybe touch on international. I have a lot of international clients,
Absolutely.
investors that come here and purchase real estate in the U.S., and would love to have a message for them. So next week, maybe we can talk about that, see
Absolutely.
how all this has been impacted. Anyway, you and your family stay healthy and safe. And thank you again so much. I know the people who watch this will get great information from it. And just really appreciate your time.
Oh no, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks so much, Georgie.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, bye-bye.